think what we're seeing here is an absolute conservation success story, where we have, through incredible hard work and partnerships, achieved what I see as a pinnacle in conservation, where you can actually are in a place, in a position to look after rhino. And everybody knows how vulnerable this species has become and how threatened the species is.
They're being poached at a very unsustainable rate. Both species, at the moment, white rhino rates are declining very fast. This move that we're doing now is very significant. So, one, for us, it's really nice being able to work with black and white rhinos, but more importantly, it's a very nice founder population of rhinos that can be moved to a new recipient reserve.
We had this incredible opportunity with Exaro that came to Peace Park, and they asked us if we are interested to look after rhino population that they wanted to donate. We did our own feasibility and we said, well, we think actually Zinave is the perfect place because of its location, because of what we've achieved here from a conservation perspective. So everything is just right. Exaro did their own due diligence and they came back and actually they agreed with us. So not only are they donating the rhino, but they're also donating a significant amount of money that helps to protect the rhino in this new habitat.
We think that we are able as a business, and we have this value really of sharing and making sure that we live up to our purpose as Exaro, which is to empower better lives in Africa and beyond. And for us, we believe that we are saving these rhinos from poaching in South Africa. So they will be even safer, in this park. We know that Zinave is one of the best managed parks in Africa.
When we decided to move these rhinos, we specifically decided that this project must contribute to the bigger conservation picture of rhinos. And one of the solutions, one of the counters to rhino poaching, and there's a whole suite of them, protection being one, education being another, but one of the biggest solutions, contributors to this solution, would be to establish new breeding populations in safe areas where they can breed up to significant numbers, basically getting to a point where we outbreed the poaching. That is very similar to what Dr. Ian Player did in the 60s, when there were only a handful of rhinos left in KZN, and he distributed these to reserves all over Southern Africa and actually bred the white rhino very quickly out of a threatened state.
With 25% of your country that has got a protected status means that your country is obviously stands conservation in high importance in their objectives. Mozambique is somehow externally portrayed as a country that's perhaps not serious about conservation, but it's anything but that. They've very cleverly and strategically taken on partners such as Peace Parks and other NGOs to provide their technical and financial capacity. Long-term agreements, 20-25 years in the case of co-management agreements are signed in the case of Zinave. So there's a long-term plan, long-term collaboration, long-term security, both financially and technically, to make sure that these parks reach their destination as a fully restored ecosystem that is operationally and financially sustainable.
We'll dart them from the air, they'll go to sleep, and then we'll give them a reversal. We'll do everything we need to do on the rhino in that time. So they'll lie either probably laterally, perhaps on their chests on the ground. We need to be monitoring these animals the whole time. And then there's a number of things we need to do. We need to take DNA tests. There's basically a whole data sheet we need of information that we need out of this rhino. So as soon as we're comfortable that we have all of that, we'll reverse the rhino and we'll walk it. And it's an amazing process actually, because you partly reverse the effect of the etorphine with a partial reversal. The rhino gets up and you literally walk it like you would a horse. You put a blindfold around its head, a rope on the front and the back, and with a handful of people you walk it towards a big steel crate and walk them in, and then reverse them, lift the crate onto the truck with a big hydraulic crane. So I mean, to be able to do that is phenomenal.
When these large megafauna come out of the wild, they come into literally pens for a number of months to regain some condition, recover from the anaesthetic and the capture process, get onto new food sources. If they're going to a new area, that it might be new grasses or browse. Ideally, we try to get them on a commercial food, so a lucerne hay or a grass hay. Make sure they're all recovered, fit, strong and healthy to go on to the next part of the journey.
So the plan is to move the rhinos from Mankete Game Reserve down to the Maputo through the border post into Mozambique, where the rhinos will be released for a few days for a hydration stop.
Without watering, without hydrating the animals and feeding them again, there's no ways they could have survived a 60-70 hour journey.
Then they will be loaded up again and transported all the way north to the middle of Mozambique, where Zinave National Park is situated.
Put it in context, black rhino is a critically endangered species. In the world there's about 6,000 black rhino left, and of those 6,000 black rhino, there's about 2,000 black rhino in South Africa. So, you know, if you think about it, 6,000 individuals. If you look at a football stadium that has 50,000 people, that, you know, it will not even fill up 1/10 of a football stadium. All the black rhino left in the world. So it's quite sad, eh? So it's a critically endangered species. We have to do everything that we can to give them areas where they can be rhino and where they can be safe. And this is ultimately what this is about.
The journey has actually gone really well. The rhinos have travelled beautifully. I think our drug regime was spot on. The rhinos were really quiet for most of the journey. Most of them had a drink of water and some food too on the journey, which I think helped enormously. So all told, an extremely long journey, probably one of the longest translocations of black rhinos ever attempted.
Oh, it's just pure excitement when you see them, eh? When they look at you and they come, that huffing, puffing, looking closer what's going on. You know, it's probably the first time in 40, 50 years that black rhino has been in Zinave again. Yeah, so it's an incredible feeling to know that we're actually at this point that we can bring black rhino here, and we're confident in that enough that we can actually keep them safe.
We have done quite a lot in terms of protection, but also securing the area. And since 2016, with the involvement of Peace Parks Foundation, the recruitment of new rangers, I think over 200 rifles were collected from the poachers, from the community just around the park. And over 30,000 snares, I think, were also deactivated from the park. That makes the area also clean for reintroduction of iconic species. Also, we have the external situation where we are collaborating with the police, and that I think will help us in protection and security also in the area.
We've done anything and everything possible to put in place, through our years of experience, the mechanisms and the interventions and checks and balances to look after them as best as we possibly can. There is no guarantee that we will keep 100% of the rhinos safe all the time, but that's true for everywhere in the world where you keep rhino. Here definitely Zinave National Park is a safer destination for the animals. There's potential to grow. It's a 400,000 hectare park. We are moving them to a specific rhino sanctuary, so they don't roam the entire area, and they track 24/7. And so there's a highly trained team on the ground. There's technology tracking the rhino all the time. There's a helicopter, there's dogs. So we're doing everything in our power to make sure that they're safe. Will they be 100% safe? There's no guarantee. Is it a calculated risk? And do we think this imbalances is better for the species as a whole? Absolutely.
A proteção da biodiversidade é imperativo universal, que juntos continuaremos a lutar para a manutenção do nosso patrimônio natural, pois só assim as futuras gerações irão usufruir do melhor da natureza, sempre privilegiando o nosso sustentável recursos naturais.
Having the political will to reintroduce rhinos and all the complications that come with it, it's very significant in showing what Mozambique is prepared to do for conservation. For Zinave National Park, also a massive landmark and a great opportunity now to make Zinave National Park as a tourist destination, as a self-sustainable, financially viable park for the communities and for the Mozambique people. Obviously, with PPF on board, I think now that's more real.
É preciso entender-se que os parques têm inúmeras oportunidades para as comunidades e emprego, formação, os clubes do ambiente e o sustentável dos recursos naturais é parte também da gestão, porque a comunidade é parte do parque, o parque é a comunidade, então não temos como separar de facto.
From all over the world, people will come and see Zinave National Park because there's rhino, and if they do that, you have an incredible economic development opportunity for the local communities, for the region and for the country, and even for the Transfrontier Park. So there's many reasons from an ecosystems ecological perspective, but all the way right through to species conservation and ultimately stimulating and supporting economic development of local communities living in the landscape and on a national basis for the country.